I'd like to introduce Eric Hecker. He's a Raytheon contractor based for about a year at the South Pole. He was involved in a neutrino light array. He has an enormous amount of information, but in the interest of time, we'll be brief. Thank you, Mr. Hecker.
Hello, everybody. Ladies, gentlemen, members of the press. I'm very happy that you're giving me this attention and this information attention because it needs to get out to the world. I will start, since we have to be brief. I have already given all pertinent information and supporting documentation to the Senate Intelligence Committee and AARO. They informed me that all of my information will be recorded for public record and shared with Congress. It is that important. In 2010, I was selected to go down to the South Pole Station in Antarctica for an entire year by Raytheon Polar Services as an employee of a third-party contractor for the National Science Foundation. I functioned in a dual-role capacity as a tradesman and a firefighter. My responsibilities required me to be more informed than most of my crew and offered me complete access to the facilities. What I learned from this unique experience needs to be shared with the entire world. The technology at the South Pole Station certainly can do what it is presented as its primary purposes, and unfortunately, much more. The IceCube neutrino detector is presented as a passive listening device for the purposes of the science as presented. But I'm going to skip right through the chase, folks. I have provided documentation that proves that the 5,160, what they call DOMs, that are embedded in the ice can actually transmit at 2,047 volts each. That gives us a long list of things to consider. It is effectively a multifaceted directed energy weapons platform that I will list rapidly a few things that it can do. Vehicle detection. We're learning that these off-world craft, on-world craft, ours or other nations, are also emitting neutrinos. So this makes the South Pole Station effectively an air traffic control station for this new level of equipment that nobody's discussing. In addition to the ability to detect neutrinos and the exotic vehicles, I have provided documentation that shows that this is also a system for faster than light communications. In the past, Gary McKinnon has hacked NASA, found the off-world fleet, the list of captains, and it's apparent that if we have faster-than-light vehicles moving throughout the system, we're going to need faster-than-light communications. This is that facility. Unfortunately, I have other bad news. The season that I was there, 2010 to 2011, we converted from construction to operations and maintenance in both the elevated station and the detector array. Unfortunately, when they first fired it up, that was when we had the earthquakes in Christchurch, New Zealand. There was 2 incidental shots before they were able to target it correctly. This is an earthquake generating device as well. This is the weapons of war that we have to deal with now and what Raytheon's hiding. There's an ELF system at the South Pole Station that when I arrived, I was told it was off, dismantled, and completely defunct. In my work, I will rapidly just tell you, I had to figure out the circuitry for certain other repairs, and I found that this system is in fact completely energized, up and running, and being utilized with the other systems for nefarious purposes as well. The Atmospheric Research Observatory is in what we call the clean air sector. I witnessed myself a very powerful green laser shooting out of the top of this facility into the cosmos. This, I believe, is a secondary form of long-range communications and or a defense system. I am not saying that we need to be scared of anything that's out there, but please understand the military-industrial complex is happy to invest all of your money in alleviating their fears. A question of power comes into play for all of these facilities that are present. I assure you, I knew what was going on, I knew the load demands of the facility, and all of these new items exceed the demand for the systems that I was presented. I am doing due diligence and research. I believe there is either a secondary power supply there that is either nuclear, that was there prior to the start of the Antarctic Treaty, which prohibits such things, and or that there is some sort of exotic power supply system there that just is not in the verbiage of the treaty, so it negates the responsibility to the parties involved. I think that pretty much covers it for time. If anybody wants to find out more, I have a website where all this information is at. For brevity, I'll wrap it up, but you can go to deciphering.tv. I've documented all of this stuff, and information is available.
Awesome. Thank you. Back in 1980, outside Houston in Texas, the one on the right is actually an ET craft. It was they were unable to figure out how to get its energy system to work. They, I think rather foolishly, put a nuclear energy system on it. It malfunctioned. And as it did so, it radiated innocent people in their vehicle underneath it. It later was escorted by helos to a base west of there. The man who debriefed the 4 human pilots of this and debriefed them, we know, and we have his testimony. He's Air Force Office of Special Investigations out of Kirkland Air Force Base. So the Cash Landrum case involves civilian injuries. They tried to sue the government. The government denied they had any knowledge of it, but the constitutional government of the United States doesn't know this. This is the big problem. Next. And this, I want to just play this for a moment. We're in Washington. Here is an esteemed senator from Hawaii, and listen to what he said in the 1980s.
A shadowy government with its own Air Force, its own Navy, its own fundraising mechanism, and the ability to pursue its own ideas of the national interest, free from all checks and balances, and free from the law itself.
Free from all checks and balances and free from the law itself. Now, the media often wants to portray this issue, conspiracy people, and of course, at this point, if you disagree with someone anywhere, you just call them a conspiracy theorist, okay? This man knew what he was talking about.
A shot.
Oops. So he absolutely knew what was going on with this. He was denied access, not just on the Iran-Contra issue, but on this specific issue. And how do we know that? We have an attorney, Derek Garcia here. He is now heading up the Disclosure Project Legal Defense Fund, and we have, as of about 2 hours ago, 90 plus attorneys and legal professionals to represent Disclosure Project witnesses and to pursue racketeering, influence, corrupt organization lawsuits against various corporations and individuals that are liable. The United States Congress and President need to act, but we will act pending their action. I'd like to then welcome Derek Garcia to the podium.
Good afternoon. My name is Derek Garcia. I'm a civil rights attorney from New Mexico. I've been in practice for 13 years. I'm admitted to practice in the District of New Mexico, the Federal District, the United States Court of Appeals for the 10th Circuit, as well as the U.S. Supreme Court. I'm joined in the audience by my colleague and attorney, Paige Fox from Illinois, and numerous attorneys who have now joined our legal team nationwide and internationally. We are dedicated to ending decades of UFO secrecy and releasing vital technologies which will bring an end to our current environmental and energy crisis. On May 23rd, we announced the creation of the Disclosure Project legal team over Dr. Greer's YouTube channel. Since our initial announcement, we now have over 90 legally affiliated individuals, different practice areas and expertise, paralegals, law students, law clerks, members of law enforcement, and criminal investigators, legal professionals from over 23 states and nearly all relevant jurisdictions, and a growing list of preeminent attorneys internationally. We continue to make the call for pro bono attorneys, all volunteer at this point, and legal professionals, and add new members of the Disclosure Project legal team on an hourly basis. We have assembled a one-of-a-kind and strictly nonpartisan volunteer legal team for the purpose of moving disclosure forward once and for all. Our goals are to legitimize the essentially foes and promote public awareness as to the numerous related constitutional and legal implications on this issue. We wish to support the constitutional government in regaining full operational control over these secret, illegal, black budget, beyond black budget projects. And we will gain control over this issue for the first time since President Eisenhower. We will seek truth about propulsion and advanced energy technologies capable of solving world hunger, poverty, and the energy crisis. We will seek justice for those who have been harmed by non-disclosure and technology seizure through filing civil RICO actions, Bivens claims, and numerous and multiple legal theories aimed at getting to the ultimate truth on this issue. The competent, under oath testimony already developed by the Disclosure Project team, Dr. Greer, and these courageous witnesses, and represented in the Disclosure Project intelligence archives developed over 30 years of Dr. Greer's work, may also be used in criminal prosecutions by United States attorneys or criminal prosecutors across the globe to seek indictments on the numerous RICO crimes which have been committed on this issue, with the aim of keeping the issue buried. Just a small sample, and I know we're short for time, of the crimes that are directly related to this issue. Disclosure Project witnesses have and gathered intelligence has established the following major crimes: treason against the United States of America, murder, mass murder, torture, kidnapping and abduction, embezzlement of government funds, embezzlement of private funds, bank fraud, money laundering, illegal surveillance, insubordination and insurrection against the United States, false imprisonment, witness and whistleblower intimidation, theft of intellectual property, trespassing, burglary, framing of innocent people, government corruption, blackmail, bribery, and illegal use of the government and military property, and many, many more crimes.